Hi, this is Ken Murphy, Program Manager for ArtsNL, and this is a walkthrough of the School Touring Program application on the ArtsNL online application system. So at this point, I'm on the landing page for the Grantee Portal. So at this point, you would have logged on with your email and your password to get to your Grantee Portal. So you can see I'm logged on as a arts group. And it will be similar for an arts organization or an individual artist applying to the school touring program. You'll land on your portal and you can start your application here. So as we go down the page, we see that I already have an application for a project grant in here, but now I'm going to apply for the school touring program over here. So if I click Apply Now, the application form comes up for me. You can see it's in several tabs here at the top of the page, which will ask for information as we go through. The first thing you have to do, as it tells you, is to click Save Draft. And that will bring us to a full application and start a new application for us. And you can see the application file number is actually listed at the top of the page for you. So you can note that. That'll always be there when you log in. So I will note here that you can click here to read the program guidelines before starting. So if you're unsure about what's required for this application as you go through, or what information you'll need, or if you qualify as an applicant, click on this section and it will give you the overall program information. Now, I'm not going to do that now. You can do that if you need to. If you have any concerns, if you qualify as an applicant to this program, please contact me or Katrina Rice at ArtsNL. Now, for the first thing we have to do now is Save Draft. And we'll look at the program information. So the first thing you'll notice is that the discipline is listed as Arts and Education. You can't change that. Your project may involve another artistic discipline, but for our recording and our files, the school touring is the discipline is Arts and Education, and that aligns with national requirements for that. So the first thing we'll need to enter now is the tour start date. So I'm going to do May 18. So that's actually, I'll do one in November. So let's start it on November 12th. And we'll end it on November 23rd. And store the tour title. We'll just give it a simple title and a brief outline of your program. So what I've done is I have some materials already done with my resumes and other information, but I do have a project description here. And what I'm going to do is open that, and I'm just going to take the first paragraph here. These are nonsense paragraphs, by the way. If you're reading them, they will make no sense. I'm going to copy and paste that paragraph into my my application form. And now I move down, and the project description is here. It asks for specific information, description of the performance, the workshop and enrichment activity, grade levels your tour will present to, statement of why it is important, the benefits to the school, how the presentation will link to school curriculum, perceived impact of this tour, so the benefits for teachers and students, a description of workshops, enrichment activities that will be provided, and the tour timeline is what's asked for. So ensure you have all that information in your project description. And we'll give you up to 5,000 words. You don't need to use that much. 2 or 3 pages is usually enough. And here you can see I have a fake one here with some of those headlines, and that's, it's about 3 pages long, and that should be enough to get all that information in there. So what I can do now, this is a Word document, so I can just copy and paste all that information in there. So that's all in there now. My project description is in the system. So a list of potential schools. I'm going to give 7 because you have to type these in individually. And I'll remind you that at least 2/3 of your schools have to be in rural areas, so outside St. John's or major urban areas. I'm just going to put in some communities here. I'm going to give 7 because I'm going to have one because I'm going to have one in Labrador. 3. I'll do a couple in Labrador. So I know it takes a while to put these in, but it is important that we have a list there. And I would also point out that this list doesn't have to be the list you stick with, and you shouldn't be contacting these schools beforehand to say, do you want to be on my potential list? This is just a list of what makes sense for your school, where you will be going, the parts of the province you'll be going to, and a list of the schools you'd like to hit there. You really don't want to, unless you already know them and have a relationship with the school, you don't want to contact them until after you know you have funding, because it's it just makes sense that way. We don't want to be people contacting schools, getting them worked up. Oh, we will have you, and then maybe you don't get funding, and then it's a letdown for everyone. So. And one more. So we'll save that list and close it. So next we have updated resumes of the key participants here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download those. And I have three resumes. And there they all are. And once they're downloaded, I can put them into the application form, and there they are. Next, details of my group's history. I'll need that. By the way, any downloadable documents here, Word documents or things, actually need to be in a PDF format. And I think I have one. Here's my history. That's there. And finally, current group members. If you're a group, it's going to ask for group members. If you're a board, if you're an organization, it's going to ask for your board members. If you're an individual artist, it won't ask you this at all. So that's good to know. So board members, I'm going to list 3 fake names. And you need to select their province of residency. At least half, as it states, must be Newfoundland, Labrador. And they at least half must be over 18, so we're asking for that directly as well. And luckily, all my group members are in Newfoundland. But if I had 2 in Newfoundland and 1 from away, that would be fine as well. And please provide the financial statement for your group's last completed fiscal year. For a group or an organization applying, you will be asked this. If you're an individual artist, you won't have to submit this information. And I will download that information as well. Again, a PDF format is required. It won't upload anything else. All right, so I seem to have all that there. And what I want to do now is save draft. I recommend saving draft as you enter new information, but I had everything nicely ready here, so I'm going to save it at this point while I finish the project information tab. Now let's look at the budget. So the budget information, mileage, you just need to put in the number of kilometers that you'll be using. So I'm going to say 600, because mostly mine looked like it was around the Avalon. Maybe a little more, maybe 700 kilometers. Fees for the artists, that will be based on a daily rate, typically, or a per week rate. Rates differ for different disciplines, but that could be, that's up to you too. Typically around $300 a day is what we've been doing, but with the new increases to the artist rate, that may increase based on your discretion and what your budget can handle. So if I say, so 3 artists for, I'm going to do 10 days. I say 300 per day. So 30 times, it's going to be $9,000 right there. And the materials, consumables, I don't have any of those for this one, but if you did, you could list what they were here and list the amount. For equipment rental, I'm going to say, for this one's going to be music, so sound gear, and that would be, I've got a quote, say, of $456.78 for that. If you have a quote, as you'll see later, you can attach it as a PDF if you wish. For over $1,000, I recommend quotes. Administration, so this is for people to set up the tour, and I'm going to say we're going to do a $500 fee for that. Per diems are going to be 3 artists, and it's going to be 10 days and $49 per day would be the rate. So 3 times 10, so that's $1,470. You can hear I'm actually having to calculate that as I go along here. So while the budget form will calculate your totals, it won't calculate what you put in this section at all. Accommodations, that's going to be 3 artists. Again, 10 days. That's going to be 3,000. And yes, there is an autocorrect here. All right, so that's 3,000. And we put that in. Transportation, it's already covered in our mileage. That's how we're going to do that, so we don't need that. And you'll see here in the mileage section, that's already covered, so we don't have any other transportation. Oh, actually, I do. I'm going to Labrador. So so 3 artist flights at 1,000 is going to be 3,000. Okay, venue rental, we don't have that. Other, we don't have that. No other costs here. So basically this is our total, and it's less than 20,000, so that's acceptable. And we go down here, and we see that that's there, and that's our total request. So we can save. And that's all there for us. And close. Now, support materials, I'm going to download a couple of things. I'm going to download an image. And here's my image. It's a picture of Shakespeare I have. but that's the same process as downloading the files. It's there. You can have different, this could be a JPEG, TIFF, or PDF. It's up to you. Mine's a JPEG. So now I close that. And I don't have manuscripts, but if you're doing a play or something, you should, like that, you should have a copy of the play in there. You should upload that. Scores we rarely get, but it is useful. Films, if you want to download a film, a short one, you can do that as well, if that highlights what you do with your students. The main idea of the support material is to show this is what we'll be doing with the students. This is the activity we'll be bringing to the students. Audio files, if there's music you'll be playing, you can upload audio files and recent reviews. What I'll also do is I'm going to have, if you have a video link that's a bit longer, and we have a link for that online, you can upload that as well. So I am going to do that because I have one of those, and I have it here. So I've just put it in a Word document so I can just copy and paste that. That's actually the ArtsNL YouTube channel. So I've downloaded that as well. Okay, and again, save draft. So I can see that everything I have is done here. The final thing is the declaration, which basically confirms that you're making true statements, that any funds awarded will be used as you say they will be used. You will be, any publicity or promotional material would acknowledge the ArtsNL support, and that will be listed on the grant acceptance contract if your application is successful, and that you've been authorized by your board or group members to submit this application, and that you'll accept the decisions of the peer assessment committee, and that you've submitted all final reports. If not, we'll be asking you for them. It will be flagged in our processes. So we would need those submitted before a check will be released. So if all that's good with you, check confirm and save that draft. Now I think I've completed everything, but what I wanted to do is go back to project information and just show you what might happen if something's wrong. So what I'm going to do is change my end date to an earlier date than my start date. And now if I say, and because I'll show you what happens, you actually get a red flag on that. Okay, and now I'll click submit, and you'll see your tour date must be before the tour the start date. So you'll see here that tour end date. So what I can do is just put the end date to here again. Save that draft. Anytime you make a change, save draft. And now if I submit, it should accept. And there's the submission has been received. Okay? And you will get an email letting you know that your submission has been received as well. So that's the walkthrough of the school touring application. Thanks very much.